This never happens to someone saying something that benefits the left. It only hurts conservatives.
Ever.
Now, when I posted that video, I didn't say, well, this is the gospel. I said, wow, this is a must-watch because it seems very contrary to the narrative that they've been force-feeding us.
There's been a perversion, homosexuality, bestiality, lose them.
Hard to really contemplate how weird it's been if you put it all into focus. We've got the Australian wildfires were at the very start of the year, and then we thought we were going to World War III with Iran, and then shortly thereafter the pandemic kind of became a global phenomenon, and then our worlds changed forever, and then we had just an endless string of fuckery that seems to be coming down from on high, and yet the idea of speaking today about the demon sperm doctor still feels a little out of place. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get used to this. I'm never going to get used to talking about these kind of things. Yes, you've got the Gestapo. You've got the Gestapo in the U.S. now, so that's interesting. That's the thing. There is some positives, being that there's nothing that's warmed my heart more than seeing all of the world band together to want to fight white supremacy. That was really cool. I didn't think I'd see that on such a scale in my lifetime, but it seems like everyone is like, yeah, fuck white supremacy, we're done with it. That's like, it's boomer at this point. That's your parents' supremacy, like we want a new kind of supremacy. How about human supremacy? That's it. Even that has an icky word though. Maybe we got to get rid of the whole supremacy aspect of it. I don't know. I haven't figured it all out. All I'm going to say is that today we're going to be talking about sperm. It's going to be, we got a lot of sperm to talk about too. It's a full day of spermy sperm. And this one tackles every corner of the internet, which is pretty interesting because, well, here's maybe where I could start with the story, okay? I'll start right here. Donald Trump Jr. has not been permanently removed from Twitter as a platform because obviously there's a bit of fear, I'd say, between Twitter exuding their, I don't know, I was about to say big swinging dick, but I'm going to try to avoid penis metaphors if we're going to be talking so much about semen, because again, this story is it's all encompassing. It's just the gooey, crusty innard that's going to gel and coalesce all of these weird factions of the internet together, from QAnon down on high. It's going to rain a veritable bukkake. See, I cannot do this. This is not real life. I can't imagine what actual journalists I have to do. Have they reported on this story? I haven't seen Lou Dobbs come out. Well, sorry, he's not an actual journalist. I haven't seen the Wolf Blitzers. Oh, he's not an actual journalist either. I haven't. Okay, there's no such thing. But I haven't seen anyone come out and talk about the story in quite the proper form. We should bring attention to this though. Why Donald Trump Jr. amplifying a quack who believes in demon sperm? The latest conspiracy theory is yet another example of how Americans are being misled by right-wing quacks. If you happen to be thinking that the one good thing of the tumultuous year of 2020 has been missing in arguments over demon sperm, then all I can say to you is I've got good news. Enter Dr. Stella Emanuel, a Houston-based pediatric and a pastor of a church called the Firepower Ministries. Good name. Powerful name. Commanding name. All right? Firepower Ministries. I like it. Emanuel made internet history on Monday after she spoke on the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court with a group of right-wing physicians who refer to themselves as America's frontline doctors. The group is supported by the conservative Tea Party patriots. In the comments that were live-streamed by the far-right Breitbart News, Emanuel brashly stated that COVID has a cure in hydroxychloroquine. Well, what a surprise. So the President of the United States, who has not stopped touting the benefits of hydroxychloroquine, which have now been debunked by numerous scientific studies, viral sensation Dr. Stella Emanuel says Jesus will destroy Facebook if her COVID video doesn't go back up. Wow. So her video, which is, again, espousing some pseudoscientific stuff that could get a lot of people killed, has been taken down from a lot of different social media platforms. And now she's stating that if it doesn't return, then the Lord shall smite Facebook from on high, which I'm having trouble finding a position to take in this argument. Because on the one hand, I would like if, God turns out to be real and benevolent and basically can smite Facebook at a whim. So that would be neat. So I'd actually be there for that.
Jesus born. The Holy Spirit breathed on Mary and produced a child. And the devil figures, well, if God can do it, I can use it to multiply and produce evil seed. That is illegal. The commonest one is sex in your dreams. If you've ever had sex in your dream, you have a spirit spouse. If you've ever slept with somebody in your dream, you have an incubus or succubus. Those things that we do become legal reasons why the devil walks into our lives. And when the devil walks in, they are not living because you repented. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
If you crack open the door and the snake comes in, and you repent and close the door, there's a snake in your house. So a lot of us have cracked open the door in many ways, and there are snakes in our houses biting us. Even though we're heaven bound, the snake is still in the house. And sometimes the snake might bite you and make you run out of the house and end up going to hell. Because some of the things that the devil will do to you might make you end up in sin.
Look, to be fair
I happen to think it works in the early stages. I think frontline medical people believe that too, many. And so we'll take a look at it. But the one thing we know, it's been out for a long time, that particular formula, and that's essentially what it is, the pill. And it's been for malaria, lupus, and other things. It's safe. It doesn't cause problems. I had no problem. I had absolutely no problem. Felt no different. Didn't feel good, bad, or indifferent. I tested, as you know. It didn't get me, and it's not going to hopefully hurt anybody. So we know from that standpoint, because it's been so many years, from a safety standpoint, it's safe. I happen to think, based on what I've read a lot about hydroxy. I happen to think that it has an impact, especially at the early years. There were some very good tests at Ford, and the doctor from Yale came up with a very, very strong testament to it. There was a group of doctors yesterday, a large group, that were put on the internet, and for some reason the internet wanted to take them down and took them off. I guess Twitter took them off, and I think Facebook took them off. I don't know why. I think they're very respected doctors.
Well, again, those doctors, the ones he's talking about, happen to be the demon seaman doctors.
If our country is headed in the right direction, has dropped off a cliff since this spring. Not coincidentally, that's when a strange new virus from China began to spread among our population. The rise of COVID-19 in the United States tracks almost precisely the decline of Donald Trump's approval numbers. And the political lesson from this is clear. The more damage the Wuhan coronavirus does to America, the harder it is for the president to get reelected. That's not speculation. It is the most certain fact in American politics. Every Democratic office holder understands that. If the population remains terrified, Democrats will have more power in January. So the Democratic Party has every incentive to keep Americans afraid and off balance. For the next 97 days, they plan to do that. That is their entire...
So, based on your argument, wouldn't it have made way more sense if Donald Trump actually handled this with any kind of grace? If he did maybe just one thing right, wouldn't that have made more sense? Wouldn't that maybe have helped him in the upcoming election, instead of, I don't know, treating human beings like some kind of pulp shredding machine? Probably didn't really help his case or yours. But I am curious how he's going to defend the demon seaman, because that has to be something he addresses, right?
Joe Biden's campaign. So they decided to pull that video off the internet. 15 years ago, that would have been absurd. You couldn't have done it. This was America. You weren't allowed to ban a news story just because it might hurt your candidate's poll numbers. In any case, it was impossible. There were too many news outlets then. No one could control them all. That has changed. While the rest of us were sleeping, or in the case of so many of our senators, taking payoffs from Google, a tiny number of left-wing corporations took virtually complete control of all news and information in this country. Now, if Democrats want to erase a politically inconvenient news story fewer than 100 days before an election, they can do that. And they did do it. Big tech censored science. They pulled the video of doctors in lab coats talking about coronavirus research, and they hid that video from the public. That's exactly what the Chinese government so often does, except when Silicon Valley erases your freedoms, they lecture you as they do it. They've got all the ruthlessness of Chinese authoritarians, but with double the...
Well, Crystal, what's on your radar? I don't know. I just want to say that Tucker Carlson has done an excellent job pointing out that the major corporations are basically holding us at bay. And while I don't agree with him, because, he is, of course, an avowed white nationalist, there is something to be said about what he's saying here about big tech companies and their oversight over us. And, back to you, Sagar. Yes, that's correct.
the self-righteousness. That's why so many nations around the world are reopening their schools this fall. But we're not. We've got a presidential election in November. Children must suffer so that Joe Biden can win that election. That is the imperative, the political imperative driving our so-called health policy. But you're not allowed to know that. So they pulled the video telling you that. Here's another physician from the same press conference called Dr. Stella Emanuel.
There is a cure for COVID. There is a cure for COVID. It's called hydroxychloroquine, it's called zinc, it's called Zithromax. And it is time for the grassroots to wake up and say, no, we're not going to take this any longer. We're not going to die.
Dr. Emanuel's claim is harder for us to endorse. Is hydroxychloroquine part of a cure for the coronavirus? We don't know the answer. We do know that many frontline physicians around the world have prescribed hydroxychloroquine.
Even Fox News can't give it to her. They're like, legally, our lawyers have told me, all right? Now I cannot say whether or not what she is saying is scientifically accurate, or whether or not it may or may not make your heart explode. I cannot attest to that. What I can say is that she's saying things that other people think. Other people definitely think that. So there's no question that she's saying things that other people think. So good.
Camouflage. They are the ones that are spiritual prostitutes. They jump from one person to another. They are the ones that are hermaphrodite. You see yourself, a woman sleeping with you with a male organ. Or you understand? So you see a woman and a male organ sleeping with you. Many cases of that have been reported. I know a lot of people that have said that. There's a lady that actually said that she was seeing herself with a woman and then she had a male organ. There are those that it's what we call
Okay, this is getting a little steamy. All right, this is getting a little too sexy. All right, we're gonna have to watch some stuff to tune it down afterwards. Like, goddamn, can't keep playing all this porn on stream.
Trust sex. Loose me and let me go.
Loose me and let me go.
Say, you spirit husband. The snare is broken. The covenant is broken. The tie is broken.
The tie is broken.
I belong to Jesus.
I belong to Jesus.
Loose me and let me go. Loose me. Let me go. Let me go. Loose me and let me go.
Loose me and let me go.
Loose me and let me go. Loose me right now. Let me go. Let me go. Let me go. The snare is broken.
The snare is broken. The covenant is broken. Loose me and let me go.
Let me go.
Loose me. Loose me. Loose me and let me go. Your spirit has been unlocked. The snare is broken. The covenant is broken.
You know, they have been trying to do this for a while. I've been talking about the deplatforming, the demonetization of people that have big social platforms that are preaching conservative values. Because, Tucker, you have to note, this never happens to someone saying something that benefits the left. It only hurts conservatives.
Ever.
Now, when I posted that video, I didn't say, well, this is the gospel. I said, wow, this is a must-watch because it seems very contrary to the narrative that they've been force-feeding us.
Everything of perversion, homosexuality, bestiality, lose them.
They don't know how to wrap their heads around the concept of a monopoly. Like, what happens if a company grows to the size that it becomes a necessary public utility? It becomes a public forum that we all need as human beings. But again, under capitalism, it's a private corporation, so we don't have the ability to govern it or have any say within what they dictate. They get to actually police our speech. And this was an unintended consequence. We hadn't planned for this. This isn't like a manifestation we thought would happen one day, but it happened. And now we're stuck in this really weird, I don't know how to deal with this. Maybe it's just that they have a bias against the right. Let's call that out for now.
No problem saying that coronavirus disinformation spread by the Chinese government does not violate their rules. That's interesting. It happens all one way. It was very nice watching the people from CNN or MSNBC because Jake Tapper himself, a few weeks ago, posted, study finds hydroxychloroquine helped coronavirus patients survive better. Now, why is Jake Tapper not spreading misinformation, but I somehow am? And again, I'm not a doctor. I didn't claim to be. I just put something out there that challenged the narrative. And because I have a large platform, I'm
why
canceled.
is he shaking?
You know who else got thrown?
I'll be honest. It sounds like he's taken way too much hydroxychloroquine. Like he's got to mix in some zinc with that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I just, as someone who's viewed many of his ilk taking hydroxychloroquine without, the administration of a doctor, it's probably for the best that you get some zinc.
To our monarch, Tomospo, you are the light that guides our path. To our lords, I'm Rab, Stephen, Ninetails Cosmic Fox, and Hans Josephine, we bow meekly for your pleasure. To our knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Bythe, Alexander Thaler, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Clement Chutskop, Skybear Games, Moss Beast, Political Puppy, Alan R., Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon then, we salute you. And to all our merchants and farmers, you have our undying loyalty and love.